morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News on channel Be Fabulous You. And this is take 3. 3's my lucky number, so maybe we're going to push on through and get it done. Whoop, whoop. So this is the segment where we talk about news headlines, and I give you my thoughts and perspective based on having read the headline, maybe based on having read the headline and being a full-out expert on the subject with years and years of background researching the subject or somewhere in between. So let us proceed. An up-and-coming drive-through salad bar could threaten legacy fast food chain. So what I've been saying again and again and again is that I'm not much of an eater-outer. I definitely don't do, a McDonald's or a I don't even know what, Burger King or Tim Hortons or, maybe, once or twice a year, something like that. If that, I don't know. I'm just not much of a eater-outer, especially not at fast food restaurants. And then when I did used to, especially in traveling, you could find a Subway easily. And I used to be more into Subways. It's kind of like my backup choice of food on the road. Now I basically carry food with me, or will go to a grocery store and kind of cobble something together if I haven't brought provisions with me. But Subway, I was really into Subway because I could micromanage the whole process. Like I could come, be like, yeah, I want extra tomatoes. And I've learned when I say extra tomatoes, they think I mean 2 slices instead of 1 slice. And I mean 5 or 10 slices. So I can be like, no, baby, more tomatoes than that. Not that tomato, because it's got the center pot still in it. I don't eat it like that. Okay, yeah, a couple cucumbers. Yeah, some spinach, or and the vegetables look so fresh and vibrant. And around the time that I realized that, it's a chain, it's processed food, they're putting something, I've realized it from reading the article, of course there's some kind of chemical on the vegetables, because this mass produced, they're mass sending them out. How do they keep them all fresh and they're all sliced up? And it's something not natural, not normal going on. When I read the article, it was like, The same thing with orange juice. It was like, how come every bottle, every container of Tropicana orange juice tastes the same? Have you ever eaten an orange? I've eaten an orange, and even if you get a bag of oranges, they taste different. Some are tangier, some are sweeter, some are more waterier. But why does the Tropicana orange juice or whatever orange juice always taste the same? They have these things called flavor packets. They don't disclose them on the list of ingredients. So you think you're getting, it just says fresh squeezed orange juice on the ingredients or whatever it says, but there are some other mysterious chemicals and stuff that are in the mix that are counterintuitive, because I've eaten an orange, so I know every batch of orange juice is not going to taste the same without some sort of adulteration. The same thing with the fresh vegetables. And around the same time that I saw that article about the Subway vegetables or whatever, there had been some controversy about the dough conditioner they used in making the fresh baked bread, which I was like, oh, it's fresh baked bread, it's so healthy, it's so wholesome. But when you see a commercial, not you, I don't know about you, but when I see a commercial for something, I get suspicious. So like if I see a commercial for something and it's a food that I had been eating, I'd be like, let me investigate this more. I might not eat this food anymore, because I'm kind of suspicious like that, like on a regular. But I basically prepare my food is cheap, because I have an attitude, like if I go someplace and I'm like, dang, for this $5, I could have made myself 4 or 5 wholesome meals, and I would have more or less known what the ingredients are, and I don't even know what this is, and then I'm settling for white bread, and I be feeling all like, ugh. So but anyway, this particular chain, I think they're in Arizona. If they were in Detroit, I don't know if I would go to them or not. When we were in Dallas, we went to this place where it was like make your own salad bar. And it was really exciting. Like they even had things like in Detroit, we do a lot of the Middle Easterns, or I do a lot of the Middle Eastern salads when I do go out, like tabbouleh. I love me a tabbouleh, but I love me a fattoush. And I especially love the fattoush because of the bread, the Middle Eastern version of croutons. It's like pita bread that's fried or crumpled or something is good. If only it were whole grain, because a lot of times it's not whole grain. But I remember going to, and you could put everything in. So I might go to a salad and go, because you make it the way you want it. And, it was, I don't know. But But I also like to like, I don't think a salad and go is really more exciting than what I can make at home. But sometimes you don't have time, to make. And if you out and you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I get something in my belly that's wholesome and energizing? That might be the solution. Blah, 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 blah. People really do love dogs more than other humans, according to a new study. So I think I skimmed it, but I think it was like they did a fake thing where they came and they said, Angela, oh my God, here's a report. This dog has been stabbed 47 times. And I was like, oh my gosh, boo-hoo. And then they said, came in, Angela, oh my gosh, here's a report. This person has been stabbed 47 times. And I was like, And maybe it's because dogs, like, especially my dog, seems kind of like innocent. Like, people, it seems like, well, this is probably the wrong thing to say, but sometimes you'd be like, well, what did they do? What's the context? What's the history? But a dog just seems sort of like a child, like totally innocent. Like, they couldn't have done anything to deserve to be stabbed for. I mean, like, the worst thing that my dog does, she's never been in the habit of using the bathroom in the house or chewing up your shoes or your clothes or anything. I can't really think of Bella having any. She used to just follow me around, pitter, 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 pitter. You hear the pitter patter of her little feet. But the worst thing she does is put her butt too close to my face, where I'm like, ew. But I mean, I'm not gonna stab her 47 times over that. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's why. And also, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I love my dog more than I love my mother because, or people. I'm trying to think of people that I love. And Bella, she's cool. I like Bella. She's a cool dog. She's a nice companion. She's kind of, I don't know, shoot. I mean, yeah. NPR news chief resigns after women accuse him of sexual harassment. I don't know what the story. He ain't even fought. It seemed like he ain't even fought. He like, oh, they accused me, let me resign. And I'm like, probably so many of these people know they've been, grabbing women by the JJs, touching their breastises, propositioning them, rubbing their booties, just out here behaving as white men in power do. Some people given the opportunity feel that they are entitled to anything that opportunity affords them. So if that opportunity affords them access to whatever, then they feel like that's not a human being. That's my perk. She's not a human being. That's a vagina walking around. That's a perk for me because I'm a powerful man and I'm in this position. So this person, from NPR, and I think, oh, NPR, progressive. That's what I used to think before somebody pointed out to me. It's like commercial after commercial. All of the guests, they selling books, they selling this, everybody's selling something. And I'm like, oh, I never heard it. I thought it was so progressive. But anyway, but he just resigned. And you figure, just like you say, well, I went to work, I picked up a paycheck, I, wrote a letter to someone, I had a meeting, I grabbed somebody by the pussy, I propositioned this one or whatever. I feel like that's probably, for many, many people, it's probably like just in a day's work or week's work, a month's work. It's probably like just more or less what they do. So, I don't know. I still am not clear on why this is like blowing up the way that it is. But, I really wish, I'm not studying astrology actively at the moment, but I really wish I was like in that same clique or conversation, because I think that there's like some useful instruction from universal energies in a context such as this, because it's kind of like women been complaining about stuff like that for years, and now all of a sudden it's like women and men. Now all of a sudden it's like people just they going down. It's like temporary. I feel like it's temporary though. I don't really feel like, I feel like they just go on and resign now, be quiet, take a month, 2 months off, and then they gonna get hired somewhere else. I'm so cynical. Sometimes I hear myself talk and I'm just like, oh, Angela, your innocence is lost. And Spencer, first Black poet included in the Norton Anthology of American Poetry. Did you have to use the Norton Anthology of American Poetry when you were in high school? Because that's where we would get some, and I feel like there was like a Norton Anthology of Literature too, and we would get short stories from there that we read in class and stuff like that. I think it was in high school, but I'm not sure. But anyway, so Mama Ann Spencer was the first black poet included. Not just the first black woman, but the first black poet. I'm not familiar with Ann Spencer's work, but Ann Spencer, Ann Spencer, Ann Spencer. Let us do some research. I don't know if I will, but maybe you will. Ann Spencer, you into poetry? Let us know. Do you know Ann Spencer's work? What do you think? Miss Universe Malaysia, Don's national dish. It was like a banana leaf or like a big green leaf behind her, and I don't know what was. I didn't realize it was a national dish, but I thought that the imagery was really pretty. I thought it was a pretty picture. The colors and everything, and then the textures. Startling maps show every terrorist attack worldwide over the last 20 years. I kind of looked at the map, but it was like in America, it was like this big red dot. And it seemed like it wasn't a throbbing dot, but in my mind, it was like throbbing. And it seemed to be the biggest, reddest dot on the map. But I have to look at it more closely. You know, on my Be Fabulous You Twitter feed, almost all of these articles have gone or will go to them. So you might be able to find the article there if you'd like to research more about it. Look into these red dots. What's up with the red? What's going on? A second actor accused Kevin Spacey of sexual misconduct. Actually, I've heard now that it's been two more actors. One was a Mexican guy, and I can't remember the other one. And he was Kevin Spacey was not a critical director, an artistic director for a theater company. I didn't know that. I don't really know much about Kevin Spacey. But I really liked House of Cards, and I had watched like one season, like 2 or 3 seasons, I couldn't remember. And then now it's like on the 4th or 5th season, maybe even the 6th season. And I was like, oh, I should get back into watching House of Cards, but I need to go back, loop, and then go on through. And I just never had time to do it. And so now I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to watch Kevin Spacey. So, I don't know. I might, but a Colorado county of 30,000 people is the healthiest place in America. Here's why. Well, a big reason why is not the high altitude, but because they're rich white people with property and power, probably. Dartmouth professors accused of sexual misconduct once conducted a study about sex with 53 female freshmen. Now, if you're a professor at a university and you're dealing with students, you're already in a power position. When you're dealing with first-year students, you're in a power position. When you're a man dealing with women, you're in a power position. And so it just sounds really skeezy, doesn't it, that they've been accused of this type of misconduct, and this is the type of research that they were doing. It doesn't sound good. I don't really know what the story is. I just read the headline. It don't. Australia to ban climbing on Uluru from 2019. Uluru is a site, a space in the place that we call Australia that has spiritual significance to the people who are native to that area, like the Aboriginal people, the people who are original to that area. It's like a spiritual place to them. And it had been a tourist place, like where people would climb it and stuff. And there was like some back and forth, like if tourism went below 19%, then they would take it off of the tourist. Here's all of the places you can go as a tourist. So it went below 19%, and I guess it got taken off the tourist list of destinations. So I have when we went to the funeral down south, next to the church, there's like a burial ground where a lot of my family's, ancestors and, relatives and stuff are buried. And I noticed, like, the church was right there, and then my cousin's body was put in the ground right there next door to the church. Like here, we drive out to the burial grounds, but there it was like right there. But then going over to where she was buried, people were just like walking over the graves and stuff. And I'm like really like, I'll like walk around like I don't know. I just feel weird about walking over people's heads and bodies and stuff. Is that weird? Because other people were just like walking over the graves like they were the ground. And I was kind of like, oh. So, and that's the family. So what if it was like just a whole bunch of strangers and it's like ground that I consider sacred, but maybe somebody else has a whole different take on it. So, yeah. Police chief apologizes, but no policy in place to discipline officer over Colin Kaepernick costume. This whole Halloween thing, I think, is just, and they were talking about it on The View, like, well, you know, it used to be like funny to call Polish people dumb, and that was like a big joke, and some people feel like, oh, you take all the fun out of life by making it politically incorrect to make jokes about Polish people or jokes about dumb blondes or jokes about N-words or jokes about, you know, whatever. And I keep thinking about a Bill Cosby monologue or whatever that I heard, and he was talking about going to the dentist, and I heard it years ago, and I was cracking up, and I was like, wow, it was kind of amazing to me because it wasn't like he wasn't denigrating anybody. It was fun. It was funny. Now, I mean, maybe if I heard it now, it wouldn't be funny. But when I heard it at the time, I was like, this is really amazing that I am laughing at somebody talking about going to the dentist. Because it wasn't really, but it's like, it was funny and it wasn't offensive. It wasn't like dogging out the dentist or the patient. It was just funny. It was like a funny situation. So I don't know if I think that, you know, funny means that you have to be dogging somebody out. I know I don't think that. And so all of these like Halloween costumes, like, it's Halloween. Why are you taking all of the fun out of it? I really want to, you know, put on blackface and be a ghetto Negro. Why are you taking the fun out of it? I really want to put this man's who's been killed, his name on my shirt and make a joke of it. Ha ha. Like, I don't get the funny part about it. It ain't funny worth a damn to me. Boy part of champion double dutch team killed by car in hit and run. Wow. Rest in peace, baby boy. So they don't have a policy. Their only policy is, we sorry he did that. They don't have a discipline policy. But I bet you, I could be wrong, but if it was something that they found offensive, that they would come up with a policy to address the issue other than, oh, I'm sorry. Black hair, an African perspective on losing one's culture. They were talking about the Mau Mau in Kenya and how the locks were, how hair is spiritual to a lot of people, particularly people of African descent, specifically people in the area that's called Kenya, and how the Mau Mau were identifiable by their locks. And so even though they were identifiable by their locks, they didn't cut their locks to blend in because of the spiritual significance that was associated, the power that people connect with their hair. And so, you know, they hid, you know, they were gorillas in the countryside or whatever. But anyway, it was an interesting piece because the person was talking about how in order to be, you know, a good African, a good person, a good member of society, you have to cut your hair, you have to straighten your hair, and how they saw their mother going, or someone in their family going, from having long, natural African kinky hair, the way that it comes out of our, you know, scalp, to, you know, becoming someone who did not have a connection with and pride in themselves or ourselves. And, you know, I thought it was a really interesting essay. It was in Black Hair. Oh, Atlanta Black Star. It was in Atlanta Black Star, but I thought it was an interesting essay. Michelin can't do anything to change lack of female representation, director says. That was coming off a New York Eater. Hold on a second. And New York Eater usually never has any article, but interesting articles other than, you know, a Vietnamese article. I mean, a Vietnamese restaurant opened up in the Bronx, or, you know, whatever. But it was a really interesting article because it was only one woman on the panel. It was just talking about women in food, and how the person who was facilitating the panel was like, well, we just choose excellence. We can't help it if women aren't excellent. And all of the people on the panel, I'm going to ask all of the men questions about food and excellence and their their philosophy as a chef. And I'm going to ask the one woman on the panel questions about being a woman. And the one woman on the panel was like, well, I leave being a woman outside when I come into my kitchen. When I come into my kitchen, I'm a chef. But all of the questions he asked her is like on the red carpet when they always ask women, well, what color lipstick do you have on? And then they ask the men, well, what's your strategy and technique for getting in the character? It's like, yeah. So read that article. That was interesting. 20 powerful award-winning photos that will make you fall in love with the world. I'm already in love with the world. Could I fall more deeply in love with the world? I don't know, maybe. These photos of abandoned malls and golf courses reveal a new era for the American suburb. Trump's sons to build antebellum style luxury hotel in majority black Mississippi Delta. Colin Kaepernick lawyer expects quarterback to sign contract within 10 days. I want your brain to stay intact, Mr. Kaepernick. I send out prayers for your brain. More people are dying from opioid overdoses in these 4 states than in the rest of the U.S. They were close to the Midwest, but not in Michigan. I don't know anybody that I know has died. This whole opioid epidemic, I don't see it. I'm missing it. We were talking about that the other day. When black men are healthy, our nation is healthy. NYPD cop allegedly told teen they were freaks before raping her. NYPD cops allegedly told teen they were freaks before raping her. Miss Peru pageant turns into gender violence protest. So the women, when they came up, instead of being like, my proportions are 36, 24, 38, they said 1 in 4 women will be raped before the age of 20. Each woman came up and they gave a statistic about violence against women in Peru. Go ahead, Peruvian young women in the pageant, Miss Pageant, Peru pageant. Raise that awareness, raise that consciousness. Newly unsealed court documents, Manafort and Gates received millions of dollars from Russian oligarchs. Sonny's new Aibo pet robot goes on sale tonight in Japan. It's like a little plastic toy that they say can bond with the people, and it's a pet, but you don't have to clean up pet boo-boo. But it's a piece of plastic. It's not Bella, is it? It's not Bella. Why millions of Chinese people are filing for divorce every year. Because now they can. Is that jaded? I don't mean it like that, but that's what the article basically said. And that's what I got. Okay, it's still not under 20 minutes, but it's close to 20 minutes. Thank you so much for tuning into Channel Be Fabulous You. I, again, am Angela, your hostess. I love you. I think you're wonderful. I think you're the greatest. You're number one. Welcome. If this is your first time, welcome back. If it's not your first time, if you're a new subscriber or a old subscriber, I love you all just the same, and I appreciate you and I value you. And you could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to spend time with me. Isn't that wonderful? Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Y'all know what? I am a hoodie. I love hoodies. I was going to say more than anything, but I don't know if I love hoodies more than anything, but hoodies might be on my list of top 10 things. I feel like I could never have too many hoodies. I have short sleeve hoodies. I even have a sleeveless hoodie. I love a hoodie. You know, the back of my neck, I like it to stay warm. I love a hoodie. Be you. Do you love hoodies? Then love you some hoodies. Peace.